What's up, folks? It's Thursday. That means it's the GBD Clinic. This means it's the time where you guys get to ask questions to this man on my left, Dr. Amsa, yours truly, Mr. Breaks, and the whole team, doctors, MDs, coaches, friends and family on the Great Black Detox GBD Clinic. Hope you guys are all doing great. Please unmute your camera so we can see we're looking at all these lovely people. Before we kick off as well, a bit of admin. Make sure you guys go along to the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, share, and click on notifications. It's YouTube/The Great Black Detox. Also go to Instagram. My fans already on Dr. Amsu's Instagram is at Dr.AMSU. And of course, the main one is at MRBREAKS, Mr. Breaks. The main one. And then you can do at The Great Black Detox as well for a giggle, for a laugh. Do you know what I mean? But listen, it's sunny, man. Look, we're both wearing T-shirts. It was, 89 in my... No, it felt like it's hotter than 89. It said 89. If it says 89 in my car, then you know it's... more about the same outside
sunny
the car.
Sunny Snellville, mate.
It's not Snellville, bro. How's everyone
sunny
doing?
Old Snellville.
Unmute your cameras, man. All you beautiful people. Someone's out here in his marina. That's Floyd, isn't it? I know it's Floyd out there, man. It's chilling hard. I can see that. All right, folks, listen, if it's your first time here, congratulations. You have made the smartest investment in your life by giving us your time, and hopefully we'll be able to oblige. If you do have any questions relating to health, just want to make a testimonial, just want to talk to me personal about how good I look, ask me what kind of skin cream I use and all that. In the bottom of the Zoom, there is a participation button. Click on that bad boy. You can raise your hand, let us know you have a question. Or you can try waving at the camera. Sometimes we notice you. Or you can put a note in the chat, hey, I got a question. Or you can send a postcard to GBD Towers, Snellville, P.O. Box, never. And for those of you in the IG, what's up? If you have a question or comment, put it in the IG. I'll try and monitor every so often. Push the camera back. Listen, we're going to get you guys. I know that's Marvo.
Marvin, you guys trying to squeeze into one little camera.
You see how this man is? Merciless. But listen.
That's hilarious.
Indeed. So this has been a good week, man. We had a really good conversation yesterday with the...
Now chat.
Now chat.
And
Radio network.
What does now stand for again? I had it on the tip of my tongue.
No woman. See, they're going to beat us up now because we're going to say this. I should have had the banner up here. And we're going to share the links to that. And I think I shared the links to that yesterday on my IG as well. But we had a brilliant conversation. But a lot of people from the UK had a lot of questions about health and about our organisation, what we do. And it was absolutely inspiring. I think maybe one or two of them may be joining today's call as well. That'd be great. And, maybe some of you guys can get to hear some questions from the UK perspective. Of course, there are black people in England. Of course, they have health issues and challenges and great testimonials as well, as most of you guys do. And, a lot of us, even here in America, have folks in the UK and the Caribbean. And it's interesting, a lot of what we hear in media about health and about just society in general doesn't always translate, right, for people that come from another country, especially here in the States. And it's great to have that perspective. Just, even down to, we get the questions all the time about what can I eat and where do I get certain fruits and vegetables, and people find out, it's called something different. That's why I couldn't find it. You're asking for the wrong thing, right? Aubergine and eggplant, zucchini and what was the other one? Zucchini and even I'm forgetting now. Someone's going to remind me.
I think aubergine is the eggplant.
Eggplant, right. And zucchini, they call
zucchini
it...
is called...
what do they call it again? Maudlin, remind me.
Ends with an et. Courgette.
Courgette, that was it. I knew I'd remember. So yeah, it's things like that. So you've got people running around the UK trying to find zucchini and calling us up middle of the night in a panic. And they would tell them they're called courgettes. And they go, oh, they're actually on sale at Sainsbury. And there's a big mound of them, so they go back and get them. But that's the kind of thing we do, which is why we also have the Great Black Detox app. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, you are living under a rock. Download the app, join the community, ask questions. You can shop from the app. Listen, just get inspiration from the app, or you can inspire other people. We really do appreciate and love the comments you guys make on other people's posts, encouraging to push on. A lot of people who are changing their lifestyles, the first time they're doing it, they don't know how to do it, they don't know where to start. It's a little bit daunting for a lot of people. So you guys encouraging each other is really appreciated. So listen, if you've got any questions, you can wave, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to start talking about the new season. The football starts tomorrow, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, which everyone's excited about. Why are you laughing? Everyone's excited about that.
Good evening to everybody on IG.
You've got the Gooners in the house.
Hello, Patricia.
Now, let me get onto the IG, see if there's any questions there. But interesting, Dr. Amsley, let's talk about monkeypox. Not that we have much to talk about it, but it's interesting how I don't know if it's going to be the new pandemic, Dr. Amsu, is going to be the new thing that everyone's going to be shaking in their boots about. I mean, we've had like 7 cases on the whole planet.
We can't even call it. You know, the reason why we can't even call it is because, you know, if it is a conspiracy, it means it was planned out. But I think it's because of social media, because of the reporting and everything now, it's on watch. So everybody's looking out, and you know, you might have 1 case, 2 cases in each state or whatever, and everyone's getting antsy because, man, it's now in the state. But monkeypox is not a new it's not a new virus.
Not at all.
It's not new. And every year there's X amount per country of these outbreaks or whatever. There's X amount of people that will catch it. But because everyone's now on high alert and it's put into the spotlight, every single case that happens, people are going to be, you know, as I said, everyone's going to be a bit antsy about it. But who knows if there's been gain of function of, you know, with these labs and whatnot. Who knows if it's a different strain that's more contagious. Who knows? And you know, we probably hear 2 years from now that it came out of whichever lab upset. You know, who knows?
Somewhere in South London, isn't it? Bound to be. Definite. So, Dr. Amsu, I'm just checking here. Those of you in the IG, good evening, everyone in the IG joining, and of course on the YouTube. Let me just jump over to the YouTube, see what's happening over there, sir. Okay, so someone's asking, they're saying y'all, but when they say y'all, they really mean you, Dr. Amsu. You've not said what brand of coconut water you buy. What's your favorite brand of coconut, or which one do you buy? Which one do you get? Now, Trini Darky, where are you? Let us know where you are in the chat. It's a handle.
Trini Darky just made our producer laugh over here.
Because he's probably visioning a dark skin.
Our producer's white, by the way.
Yeah, he's a white bloke.
He's racist.
It's terrible. I put up with this stuff. So, Dr. Amsu, what brand of coconut water do you buy? And where can we get it?
Simple truth, mate. From Kroger. Simple truth. Tastes pretty good.
Cheap and cheerful.
C2O is good. What's the expensive one that
I don't get it. It's the one it's like
it's
$12 a bottle or something.
It's like, yeah, it's really small and
it's pink for some reason. Why? We talked about this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Harvest.
So
what do you call it?
The Sean.
It's called something Harvest. I can't remember what it's called.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Nature's Harvest. Is it?
Something like that.
Nature's Harvest, something like that.
But
it's pretty good, but it's very expensive.
Yeah.
And it's in emergencies. If there's nothing else, that's when I buy that one.
Yeah. But basically, folks, it's just 100% pure natural coconut water. If you can get it,
Deshaun, you were speaking about Zyco, whichever one you want to call it. There is the 100%. There are ones where there are they have a chocolate flavor, got a chocolate flavored coconut.
I'm not doing it.
It don't make no sense, right? They got one which is like that does have 1% added sugar or whatever, but Zyco do a 100% coconut water as well. So,
and if that brand we like, they just brought out it's meant to be organic brand. It's got more ingredients than the regular organic one. I think it's the same company that does the Kroger one. It's just surprising. So now, and you know, we questioned this before. You know, we promote coconut water obviously for our Detox 2014. For those of you who haven't done it, you need to check out the Great Black Detox 14-day challenge. It's the most prolific detox. It's the one that's helping most people kickstart their health journeys, eradicate, you know, diseases, inflammatory diseases, for mental clarity, for sleep. I mean, look, we'll talk about it over the course of the show, but that, as you know, coconut water, structured water, and distilled water, and spring water are essential to that. And so we do tell people to go and find the best coconut water around. But what it is that coconut water is the in thing right now. It probably has been for the last few years. And just like with anything else, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon now. Every company's coming out with a coconut water. You know, every bottling company is just they're cashing in on it. So you do have to question where are all these coconuts coming from? You know, because listen, you know, to increase the yield of coconuts, thousands of percent year on year. From where they're planting all these coconut trees. So you must realize that there's some percentage of those coconut waters out there that aren't coconut, or there's coconut flavored waters, or coconut to some degree, and additives and sweeteners. Unfortunately, this is just the way the world works. And so as we embark upon these journeys, we have to be a little vigilant about the products we buy. But what do we always say, Dr. Amsu? RTFM. Read the label. Read the label. Can they lie on labels? Yeah, of course they can lie on labels. But in most countries where if you're watching this, if the label says these are the ingredients, you've got to go by that. Other than growing your own coconuts, which is very unlikely you're going to do that. So So for that person, Trini Darky, we love your name. Any 100% organic, preferably pure coconut water should be good. If you live in America, Kroger's own, we use that all the time. Afro Grove had a question, Dr. Amsu. Do you recommend to eat most native fruits? I'm going to have to paraphrase. I think they're asking, do you recommend that we eat mostly native fruits? Does that make sense?
All right. So basically, where you're from, local fruits. Nah, because if you live in Texas or somewhere or Vegas, Nevada, where it's all desert, I wouldn't recommend that. The only thing you do is and what fruits are even there? I was thinking cactus, but that's a plant, mate.
Well, I'm sure it's probably southern Texas. I'm sure it's quite green.
Does cactus have a fruit?
It's a good question. We're going to have to look that up.
You're going to have to look that up. But anyway, I know agave, the sweetener, comes from cacti. But no, as black people, we need specific nutrients, and some of the nutrients that we need are not here. Are absolutely not here. And when I say here, I'm talking about the United States in general, right? But you can be in Georgia right now. In Georgia, we it's muscadine season, right?
Hey.
So muscadine grapes are back, but they're here in Georgia. They're probably only in the southern states. They don't grow in New York. So when people say local, or native, it depends where you're at. So if you're native to like Brazil or Belize or Jamaica or whatever, yes, you're from that climate, and the nutrition there is in abundance. No, don't just do local fruit. Get fruits from get the tropical fruits, get the exotic fruits.
That being said, Dr. Thompson, a question on that, and Dr. Keeley may want to jump in on that, because when I first got on this journey back in, goodness gracious, in the 90s, when we were talking about this, and there's something to be said that they're not, about, especially honey, wasn't it? Eating honey that's made by bees that live in your location, and certain things about pollen, and having pollen from your native, plants. If you are going to eat certain things, what's the benefit, if you can get it, of native plants, fruits, vegetables, and just pollen in general?
Well, I mean, native plants, see, when we're dealing with plants now, all right, that's more of a reasonable talk, because there's an abundance of plants, and plants will have protectants or remedies for local diseases, we could say, right? But when we're dealing with a pandemic like that came from China, right? Came from China. It wasn't locally grown. The virus wasn't locally grown. So the plants that are local ain't going to help you out on that one.
Right.
And that's because of international travel, and, we live in cosmopolitan societies. This is why you need vegetation from all over the world to provide you with nutrients that are going to give you, boost your immune system, make your body function correctly, balance your hormones correctly, and have you prepared for wherever a pathogen may come from.
Yeah.
And now there's gain of function.
Uh-oh.
Now you're dealing with a whole different level where, you got superbugs. If you all don't know what gain of function is, it's basically taking a strain of a pathogen and making it more virulent, right? Making it more deadly or more harmful, which means that there's some gene splicing or whatever. There's some amplification that goes on. There's tampering with nature. So with gain of function, they do not know long-term effects. And it begs to ask the question, why do it? What's the point of gain of function? If there's something that is natural to nature, why are you going to make it more virulent and more deadly? What's the point?
Indeed. So listen, guys, I just got kicked out of the IG. I just got back in. If you did have a question, I won't see it. So please repeat that question if you did have one in there. I did have some IG questions and some email questions, but I'm trying to get people on the Zoom to ask questions so we can talk about football. Deshaun, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
We are great, Deshaun. How you doing?
Do you prefer Deshaun or Deshaun?
It's Dashawn.
Dashawn.
Okay, so I was in a car accident like 2 months ago.
Sorry to hear that.
So I had to go through, x-rays and everything, and like my progress of going to therapy and everything and still having some problems. So I had to get an MRI. So I got a scan because I got mild whiplash and then my lower back. And so I had to get my shoulder scanned also. So when they scanned my neck, they found 1.1 centimeter in my thyroid. So what do I need to do when I go to the endocrinologist? Should I ask them to get blood work done? I know they have to do like an ultrasound and or sonogram or ultrasound, whatever it's called.
Always get blood work. Always.
Okay.
I mean, and here's a bad habit of black people as well. We love to go ER. We don't do no
PCP
visits.
No.
We don't walk in through the front door of the hospital. We like to take backstage, like ER, but whenever you go ER, it don't matter if you sprain your ankle or whatever. They take blood. The first thing they do is take blood. So always. And endocrinologists, they need your blood in order to let you know what's going on anyway. Because the first thing is serum. They want to see serum levels of whatever. So and your blood is the perfect medium.
Now, is like, even though they found a 1.1 centimeter nodule in the MRI, is there something different that they will find in the ultrasound, sonogram, or whatever they call, whatever it is that they do? Because I mean, I had it for my uterus when that's how they found my system when they found out that I had endometriosis.
Different types of scans will reveal different findings. So yes. Okay. So utilize their technology so that the more informed you are, is the better you can question your specialist, your physicians, right?
Okay.
You want to find out as much as possible.
Okay. Yeah, because I was talking to my PT and I told him that, like, he was asking me, he says, "Is your throat hurt or whatever?" And I'm like, "No." Then I thought about it. I'm like, I do sometimes, but then like my voice will sound like raspy. But since I had my surgery in 2018, like I get like night sweats sometimes. Not as bad since I've had the detox, but I still get them. Like I'm sweating in the middle of the night. Before I used to like kind of soak the bed. Wow. And before I started the detox and everything, but the night sweats are, and I'm still having I thought like with the detox, I'm like, well, what's going on? Because with having, iron issues and stuff, I'm still having like, I'll come home from work and I'm just tired. I'm still having low energy levels and stuff and like reading into that. And I said, okay, I guess that's some of the symptoms too. And he was saying that I have hypo and not hyper.
All right, I'll wait for you to come back.
Is that
right,
is that ahead. With that? Because I was trying to look up the difference. What's that?
All right, no, you froze for a little while.
Oh, I froze.
Yeah.
What part did you hear?
He said that you've got hypo and not hyper. thyroid?
Well, yeah. So what's the difference between the two?
All right.
Which I guess neither one is better.
Well, hypothyroidism is an underactive thyroid gland, right?
Okay.
Meaning that it's not producing enough thyroid hormone,
Okay.
right? Hyperthyroid means that it's spitting out too much. It's emitting too much. And
yeah, because like I'm still having like I feel like, like my because they told me like I was anemic or whatever, but I'm still having like low energy days. Like I'll come home from work and then I'm just exhausted. I'm like, why am I tired? And then when, to find out that, I go get a scan for my neck for mild whiplash, and they find that I got a thyroid problem too, because I have herniation in my neck and my back.
right.
So it's like,
And what supplements do you have at the moment?
I have the regular, like the fibroid detox stuff, the endo, the Olympian, the fountain. I just got osteo because you told me to get that for the bone for my spine.
Okay.
What the heck do I have? Menio for my blood. I have D3. What else do I have? Olympian, D3, Menio, Olympian, stability, and I think that's it.
Okay. All right. She said, "I think that's it." Like 20.
They're all lined up on the bathroom.
And you're taking them at least twice a day, 2-3 times a day.
I take them in the morning when I get up, and I take them in the evening time before I go to bed.
And are you doing qigong as well?
I slacked on that.
All right, you slacked on the qigong. Do you do any? Do you work out? I told you get to the gym or do any?
No, I do enough workout at work, throwing cases of beer. That's the only workout that I do, because by the time I come home, I just like I get in a car sometimes and I'm just like I'm tired.
Of course.
Right.
There's no energy.
All right. So you have to try to find some time to work out, because you need to exercise, right? Mm-hmm. Everything in our bodies need exercise. We need to exercise to generate energy. Even though we utilize energy, it also allows our body the capacity to store energy, right? Not in the way of fat storage, even though there's a threshold until up to a certain threshold, your fat cells are actually great. They work in a great way because they store energy for when it's needed, right? But you need to work out. You need to do exercise to build muscle, right? You need to exercise joints, ligaments, tendons. You need to exercise your heart. You need to exercise to build your diaphragm, for your lungs to work well, right?
Yeah, see, I was playing kickball like on Monday nights, but with me getting into the accident,
Is kickball a sport, though?
Yes, it is. It's a very physical, but guess what happened?
Come on.
I got bruised ribs from it, right?
All right, you weren't doing it for sport, though.
And then 3 weeks later, I get in a car accident. So, like, I went from being active to not doing you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of, but
it's a form of activity. Yeah.
What's that?
I said it is a form of activity.
We run around and stuff. Yeah. But I do it once a week, because I could do it 3 times a week, but I don't have the way my work schedule is. Monday's the only day that's available to do it,
But I need you to do calisthenics and some weight training, right?
Okay.
And this, not just you, this is in general. Everybody should be doing some form of weight training or resistance training and calisthenics, right? We need exercise. Our bodies, our muscles, our bones, our tendons, our ligament, every part of us needs exercise. when we say do qigong, it's because qigong does tonification. It's exercises, tonification, and also deep organ exercising, right? Most of our organs, right, are muscle. So the soft tissue muscle needs exercise, right? They need to be toned. They need to be utilized. So if you are in a job where you're not exercising so much, that might be contributing to fatigue.
Okay.
Right? Sedentary lifestyles lead to fatigue, chronic fatigue.
Yeah.
Right? But, and
let me ask, Sean, you say you're throwing cases of beer around. So are you, what do? You work in a bar? You do delivery? What's your...
No, I used to be a merchandiser. I used to work for Coke for like 6 years, and then I moved to Florida, and I worked for a beer company for it'll be almost 4 years. And so like I used to do a lot more, but now I'm a sales rep. So I'm still throwing cases, just not as much. But before, it used to be really bad because I was having really bad periods before I detoxed and everything. So it's kind of a different lifestyle now, but it's not as, because I don't know how I survived when I come home.
Right. We're saying all the time, we talk to people that work night shifts and work for the different transport companies, truck drivers. We met a couple that truck drive as a couple.
No, I get up about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and start my day.
Right. You know, these guys, they said they're 10 hours in the truck and they eat whatever they can eat, and, you know, highway food. I mean, literally, they're not even eating, they don't even get Wendy's. They're getting O'Drixel's roadside bar. You know, they eat boiled peanuts and roadkill. Do you know what I mean? And for 10 years. And they were just listing off all the conditions they have. Crazy thing is, they were semi-proud of the fact because they earn so much money driving trucks. But this is the age-old question, and I know you've the light bulb has gone off with you, Dashawn, is you can make a stack load of money, right, doing these jobs, certain kinds of jobs, but then your health goes to shit. Can I say that? Yeah. And then you retire. You don't even reach retirement age. You're 40-something, 30-something, and the doctor tells you you're going to have to quit that job because it's messed up your body. Or your sleep cycle's completely shot. Or, your spine's bent out because you've been pulling pallets of beer and Coke. And so the money. What use is the money or the cash? Because it's not even real money. These are just high-paying jobs, salary jobs. Hourly jobs, right? Shift work. What good is the money if you can't enjoy it?
Yeah.
What good is the money if you have to spend the money in all manner of, care for yourself, braces and I know this guy. He's had a corset since he was in his late 20s. He's been wearing a corset because his back went because he worked pulling. I think it wasn't Coca-Cola. It was one of the distribution companies. Point I'm making is Deshaun. I know you've heard it on this call a number of times. You're a sales rep now. That's great. I know next year they're going to promote you to regional head of sales and marketing, which is great. And you're going to go up and up and up. We received that. We pray for it and all the rest of it. That being said, all of us guys, if we're on these calls, a lot of us are doing jobs that are killing us, quite literally.
Yeah.
We really need to think about doing anything we can to break free of those cycles, those jobs that are killing us. We don't, look, we get it. If it's the only thing you can get, gotcha. But if you're on this show, that means you're seeking some knowledge, you're seeking a way out of it. And these jobs, man, that they listen.
How many hours do you do?
Like it depends. I can average between 7.5 to 9 hours, but like my Wednesdays is like my long day. So it's like, it could be up to 14 hours, but I try not to go that far. If I have to go past 12 hours, I've been out too long.
So what time do you start?
Like about 5 o'clock.
So you finish, if you're doing 7.5 hours,
some
you
days
might
I finish
at
at like 12:31. Some days I finish at 4 or 5 o'clock.
All right. So that means that you got time to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Right. So what are you doing?
Deshaun, you just got caught
By
out.
the time I finish, sometimes it's tired, but I'm still like right now I'm doing therapy and then I still have my side hustle. So I got people that, purchase things from me. So I try to make time in between.
Yeah.
And it's like, by the time I get home, I'm exhausted. You know, because I'm trying to get out of
what
this
you have to
field of
do,
work.
so remember, this is a lifestyle change.
Yeah,
So you have to incorporate, you have to schedule stuff out, right?
Yes.
We're at least 2-3 times a week. If you're real busy, try to do 2-3 times a week where you set aside 1 hour to work out. Just 1 hour. 1 hour in that day that you work out, right? It could be half hour, but you set aside, you know, if you want to do some intense or whatever, you know, but start working out, because, you know, you got your job, but you finish by 12:1, right? On average 1:30, say. That gives you the up until say around 9:10. If you're waking up at 4 or 5, right? You got until 9-10 o'clock to do the rest of your day's activities. You have to schedule it in. You have to literally have a calendar.
Use technology, use an app, remind yourself, get a reminder.
Use an app to remind you, right? Going to the gym, and get a gym app as well.
Make
workout app that you know what kind of workout you're gonna do for the day or whatever. You know, but schedule that. You know, because people who are busy who find, man, I don't have time. You'll find when you start using technology to schedule your life, you'll find that you have a lot of free time. You'll find that you do actually have a lot of free time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Deshaun, you know, we know you're a regular. I know you're not going anywhere, but food for thought, right? But yeah, good luck with the thyroid thing, and hopefully you're healing from the accident.
Yeah,
luckily, you're here with us. You know? Yeah, you got to left them super.
I was really bad because they couldn't even, like, they tried to adjust my neck and my back, and they couldn't do it for about it was probably about a month, because I couldn't, like, my neck was so bad to where they, you know, they would have to massage me because it was bad. I wouldn't give it, I was so tight and everything. I wouldn't give him I couldn't relax because I was in so much pain. They had to give me a pillow to sleep different because I was having problems. They had to give me a back brace so I wasn't doing too much, putting too much pressure on my back with them trying to heal me. So it just, you know, a lot of stuff. And
Deshaun, we got to move on, but very quickly, Dr. Amsu, Dr. Keelan, maybe this is a classic case of what we talk about trauma, right? When we talk about health, we talk about, you know, people of, let's say, of normal health, right? You know, they're doing okay. You know, everyone's got a little something going on, but generally healthy, right? But then trauma happens. Okay, there's a car crash, you fall down the stairs, you know, bump your head into something, you know, you went to that wrong restaurant and you had that that lasagna. Trauma. Yeah. Now you have to have an acute, a chronic change of lifestyle because you are now in a situation that you haven't been in before. So for you, you know, as Dr. Amps is saying, you're going to have to be a bit more diligent about the exercise and about the diet and about how you rest and how much fluid you take in because you've had a physical trauma. So you are now not on your regular trajectory. You are now on a new trajectory because of that trauma and you're responding to that. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, there are things you may have to do deliberately. I mean, everyone has to do it, but things you have to do deliberately because you want to heal from that, you know, mostly inflammation, I'm assuming.
Right. And do you see a physiotherapist?
Right now, it's like it's a chiropractor that does all, like, with the accidents and stuff. They sent me to, like, what I forget, but it was just a second opinion doctor. So it's not really anybody else that I'm seeing, you know, just trying to, I guess, figure out what's going on one step at a time.
Right. I do suggest that you find a physio because when after trauma, it's important that when you're healing, you're healing with your tendons and your spine all set correctly, that nothing is out of place. Right? Because you don't want to have a limp. Or anything like that, or, you know, that your body's lean to one side, and most people are not symmetrical anyway.
I'm not.
Right. So one of our colleagues from the UK, his name is Warren Williams, right? Warren Williams Coaching, right? He specializes in physiotherapy and correction, spine correction and that. So he does a lot of work with those what do they call them, the balance
medicine balls, not medicine balls,
the balance balls,
balls that'll work. Balancing balls. That's
medicine balls. That's the only thing I can
balls.
Medicine balls are heavy.
Or the heavy ones, the ones that you can stand on and it's balance.
I forget what those are called.
Balance balls, right? Yeah. And a lot of people cannot balance on it because they're off. They have, they overcompensate on one side, and when they try, so there are these great exercises to strengthen what's weak. Dr. Keela, I know you've suffered with trauma, and you are a dancer, athlete, astronaut, so you've done it all. What light can you shed?
A pleasant afternoon, everyone. For me, strength training was the biggest thing to prevent injury, because whether or not most people know it, you don't just have muscles, you have tendons, and within those tendons, you have a feedback apparatus called the Golgi apparatus. And a big part of strength training is habituating your tendons, and particularly the Golgi apparatus within those tendons, to communicate reflexes to the spinal cord nerves and back to muscles, as well as to the cerebellum, which is the part of the brain that helps you in physical memory and in balance. So what strength training does really is that it helps balance you symmetrically, such that when you're moving, when you're dancing, when you're skating, when you're running, whatever, you don't tend to pull one side of the body more than the other and pull yourself off balance and cause injury. So I don't know if any of you have had the fortune of the opportunity to watch ballet dancers train. Most of what we do is strength training. Mm-hmm. The smallest fraction, maybe the last 15-25% is dancing. The majority is warm up to make your muscles supple so they don't tear so easily. And after the warm up, you're also doing a lot of exercises to strengthen your knees, your ankles, and your hips, because the center of your gravity is usually in your core, unless you are a person that has really muscular, big legs. Then the center of your gravity is going to be slightly lower into your thighs, your quadriceps, your hamstrings, and so on and so forth. And for a lot of Black people, and particularly Black women, we tend to be hippie, on the hippier side. Keeping your knees, your ankles, and your hips strong is a lifelong necessity. Because if you don't, I can guarantee you will end up needing a knee replacement, and that's not fun. And then the other thing is, by having a strong core, it helps you pull up your body differently and brace your body differently as you walk, as you carry yourself. Everything, all the forces in your body transmit from your feet to your ankles, to your knees, to your hips, to your lower back, all the way up your spinal cord to your neck. So oftentimes, if you're having neck problems, it's not the neck alone, it's levels below that. If you're having hip problems, it's not the hips alone, it's the knees and the ankles. So whether or not you like to be hot or sweaty or have sore muscles, understand that as you get older, it becomes imperative to strength train. You may not have wanted that athletic build, but you need it to carry you into your 40s and your 50s, because that's when we start to see evidence of wear and tear. Most dancers, most people who were ballet dancers in their youth, over time can lose that suppleness. So we have to work even harder to maintain it, because when we stop maintaining it, that's when we're more likely to get injured by simple stuff, like lifting a 40-pound bag or something like I did. You have to strength train.
Right. So there you have it. Right. The importance of training, of working out. And, you know, nowadays with, you know, you have free weights and you have machines. Free weights will work muscle groups, whereas machines will isolate, right? So you can actually isolate muscles when you're trying to strengthen something, isolate, and then you can do free weights to strengthen around specific muscles and that. But there's a science, there's a great science to working out and bodybuilding and body sculpting. You know, most people, when they think of ballerinas and ballet dancers, they think mager, skinny. But I'm telling you something, dancers will kick the shit out of you, right? How strong their muscles are. You say, I see one man there laughing, you know.
Oh no, he's speaking from experience.
Dancer will break you up.
Yes, especially our leg muscles. Our leg muscles have to be incredibly strong to carry our complete body weight. Mm-hmm. Most dancers, especially if you dance professionally, you're only going to end up having between 18 and 12% body fat, which means you're mostly muscle, and that will persist as long as you do the work.
Right, and when I was
we
young,
look heavier sometimes, but we look lighter, but we're actually heavier. Most weightlifters cannot lift me because of the muscle density.
Right, muscle weighs a lot more than fat.
Right, and a lot of football players ended up in class with us, even though the school I went to was I'd say about 80% young women. I'd say about between 15 and 25% of the enrollees were football players, because they needed to have that kind of agility to, especially if they were running backs or linebackers. Yep. You have to have a lot of agility to do football, and ballet was the best of all the disciplines to teach that.
This is why ballet dancers get paid the money they get paid. It's like the highest discipline in dance, the highest, right? I was fortunate enough when I was young to be recruited into gymnastics, right? And if you look at any major coverage of any kind of tournaments, look at gymnast physiques, right? They're well built, and it's well proportioned as well, because they have to do crazy exercises, or what do we call them, disciplines, right? And it requires absolute strength from the core outwards, right? One day, you know, I was in my high school, I was doing gymnastics, but we didn't do ring work. We wasn't doing ring work. And I'd been watching
Jim, you've been watching the Olympics and stuff.
The Olympics.
And you thought
thought I could do the crucifix, right?
That old chestnut.
And listen.
How did it end? How many days were you out?
I was out for
armpits gone,
nothing right.
Lats gone.
Listen.
Chest gone.
The amount of muscles you have in your back, you learn.
Yeah, the hard way.
You learn when you try doing a crucifix, right? Because there's muscles and muscle groups that you do not even use in everyday life.
Yeah, gymnastics
right?
is great. Yeah.
And gymnasts, when they're doing ring work, have to you have to strengthen before you can even attempt to do certain things. And it's only because I was doing other gymnastics why I didn't die. I would have ripped off my back.
How's your roly-poly? You can't do it, can you? A forward roll. You probably spent
a forward roll.
Roly-poly.
A roly-poly.
That's what we used to call it, mate, back in the day.
But anyways, right? The importance of working out, and this is the thing, we were speaking about this yesterday, that our parents, like us who are of the hip hop generation, the Generation X, our parents, it's like by the time we were like 10 years old, they had retired from all forms of physical exercise. They did not do any kind of sports or whatever, right? My dad from the West Indies, from a cricket background. And I saw my dad play cricket twice in my whole life. Twice. My dad didn't play footy, didn't play no soccer or no other sport. I never seen my mum do any kind of sport. Yeah. But my mum was a swimmer. So my mum used to love, I think my mum still swims now. I think my mum still swims now. But that generation kind of taught us that when you get to a certain age, you settle down. You don't partake in them foolishness no more. And you settle down and you get your grown on, right? Big man thing, right? You don't partake in certain activities anymore, and that's the worst advice and worst example that could ever be set. We're supposed to stay working out, stay physical, stay active, stay doing stuff. So everything that I could do when I was young, I can still do now. Everything I couldn't do, like the crucifix, I still can't do it now, right? But we have to work and keep our muscles supple and strengthened all the time, right? Because it also signaling, when you have strong muscles, they send signals to your brain, and your brain responds with specific neurotransmitters, right? And nutrients, right? How nutrients are utilized around your body. So it's very important to stay working out.
Indeed. Great question. So Deshaun, it's the Deshaun show today. Yes. Make sure you save this one and to play.
So where can I get that shirt you got on, Amsu?
That shirt.
You know what? We had quite a lot of these. You know, we might just have to revamp it and send some out to
we got to design some new T-shirts. We're going to do some 2022-23 season GBD season T-shirts. You know, guys, send us in some designs. Yeah, we need some. That's what we'll do. We'll do a contest. Best design wins. I'm
Best design wins the T-shirt with the design.
You get a photocopy of what you sent in, right, on a mug. No, but seriously, send us some designs. You guys got some ideas for T-shirts, send them in. Dr. Keela, you're going to add something before we jump on to my man, Ona.
I'll be quick. One of the things we used to do a lot before class, because our ballet classes lasted about 4 hours straight, 4 to 5 hours straight. Before we will go in, if we ate at least like an hour, 2 hours before, but we loaded with fruits and dark leafy greens, just so that we didn't end up with muscle cramps halfway through. And then afterward, we load with fruit, dark leafy greens. And then the other thing I learned from my dad was either drink coconut milk or drink coconut water, so I didn't end up with muscle cramps immediately after, because the amount of electrolytes you lose in perspiration is immense. And your body has to suck up, to do muscle contractions, you have to cycle a lot of calcium. And you also will lose a lot of potassium. So you have to replace that within at least 45 minutes after you exercise. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you were in a heavyweight fight. So it's imperative to, number one, sleep well the night before, because if you don't, you will not have flushed your kidneys properly to get all the toxins out, so that you're not, you don't want to have a buildup of lactate. Lactate will give you muscle cramps. It's a byproduct of metabolism. And at the end of your exercise, you don't want to have a buildup of lactate. So you really have to hydrate, and not with anything synthetic. The best Gatorade is coconut water, coconut milk, mango, most tropical fruits will do it. But you don't want to immediately put a bunch of, you don't want to put a bunch of meat in your system because you're going to hurt, because that's acid. You want something that is going to keep your blood pH rather neutral. And that way you avoid a lot of the muscle cramps. So it's not just the exercise per se, it's what you eat before and after.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Keela. And we're going to come back. I've got a question lined up. We're going to come back. I hope everyone stays on talking about joint pain. But before we do that, I've got questions all over the place. I want to come to Ona, my brother here. I know you've been on for a few minutes, looking sharp in your white shirt and that looks like 24 karat gold, my bro. I respect for that. What can we do for you today, my brother?
How are you guys doing?
We are doing great, my bro. How are you doing?
Osborne's my name. I've been on your Zoom before in the past. Maybe my hair wasn't as long. It's been a while. And no, I am not this expensive. I got this from Beauty World for like $6.
That's where I got mine. I wore it the other day, yeah.
But I had maybe like 3 questions today. I'm so glad I was able to catch you. So God's answering my prayers about giving me time to level up. First question is, my grandma has dementia, probably Alzheimer's at this point, because now we're working on getting a wheelchair. She can't really feed herself. Cognitive motor skills are shaky and she's dropping everything. Sometimes I have to carry her to bed.
Right.
What, as far as foods, are best to help the situation and not make it worse? Because I just talked to my dad today. I was like, Dad, what I've learned from resources like you and everywhere else, like diet is important. And I said, we can at least control what she eats because she doesn't know any better. She just eats whatever we give her.
Right. I will have to send you a list, right?
Okay.
Of foods for her to eat, because what I don't like to do is like just say, all right, let her drink or eat sea moss and do. But more importantly, it's what food she needs to cut out of her diet, right?
Gotcha.
That probably are neurotoxic and cause degeneration, right?
Okay.
And whenever we hear about people who have dementia or Alzheimer's or another neurodegenerative form of disease, we know that it's been a life full of toxins, of neurotoxins that has put them into this situation. And it could be stuff that's in the environment, stuff that's put onto the skin, right? So we always talk about endocrine disrupting chemicals, right? But there are neurotoxins that are rampant. Simple things like Teflon, like non-stick, right? Things like aluminum, right? And aluminum is in every kitchen. You go to any black person's kitchen, right? You're gonna find aluminum in there. Aluminium for all you in the UK, right? And it is it's a known neurotoxin. Then there's mercury, right? So there are one of the things with us as black people, we classify fish as other than meat, and fish is the royal type of meat,
yeah.
right? It's the sanctified type of meat, But fish farms and the amount of mercury that's been dumped into the sea and stuff, it's a real problem. So you have neurodegenerative diseases and even autoimmune diseases which result from these neurotoxins, and mercury and aluminum and other heavy metals, right? You have chemtrails, right? And I think just this year they've started to admit about chemtrails now.
Yeah.
Right? So a couple of years ago, We were the tinfoil hat wearing
Conspiracy parrots.
conspiracy parrots, talking about chemtrails and there ain't look. You know, they're like, man, you wacko, man. But they're actually admitting what's in the environment. And there were people, and I remember, what's his name? Dick Gregory.
Gregory.
I was thinking Gregory Isaac.
You got reggae in your heart.
All right. Dick Gregory was talking about the anger in inner cities, right? Mm-hmm. And talking about the chemtrails. So when you start dealing with neurotoxins, now you're dealing with the physiological pathways, right, to bad behavior, because our behavior is controlled by our brains, and your brain has specific areas, and each area of the brain, right, each gland of the brain controls us, whether it's motor function, and that controls our heart rate, that controls our breathing, that controls, just normal movement, but also our behavior. So when you have neurotoxins, behavior is one of the things that goes. So when you have a parent or grandparent or somebody in the family who has dementia, sometimes they might get a bit antsy. They start, they get foul-mouthed on you. They'll get violent for no reason, right? Because that area of the brain that controls behavior and temperament has deteriorated, or is deteriorating. And it's important to cut off the supply of these toxins and to start to feed nutrients to repair, to regenerate healthy cells. So there's two supplements we have. One is called Neuroplex and one is called Neurogen. Neuroplex is neuroprotective and neurogenerative, and Neurogen is takes care of pathogens that may have crossed the blood-brain barrier and are causing problems. So one of the you have Epstein-Barr virus, which attacks brain cells, right? This is a form of herpes, but people who have oral herpes or facial herpes or whatever, every time they have a outbreak, it's moving closer and closer towards the brain. Right? So they found herpes when they perform autopsies on people with dementia or Alzheimer's, they always find some strain of herpes. Always, 100% of the time, in the brain. So there's the toxins and then there's the pathogens, right? The microbes, the viruses, right? Bacteria, right? And so the diet has to be such to protect against toxins, to protect against pathogens, and to also regenerate healthy brain cells. And one of the things that causes issues with brain function are statin drugs, right? So people who take these statin drugs for cholesterol, guess what it's doing? What is your brain swimming?
Fluid.
And what's that fluid? I'll help you. Cholesterol.
Yeah.
Right. So there are a lot of the times when people have these neurodegenerative disorders, it's down to medication. It's actually down to something they've been prescribed. So, we have elderly family and they trust pharmaceutical industry. They trust their doctors, but doctors don't know anything about medication. Really, they don't know. Right? I told everybody a few months ago to watch Dope Sick. And the reason why I said watch this, not just about the opioids, but it's to see how little doctors, your GPs, your physicians know about drugs. They're being educated by salespeople. They call up the salesman, yo, salesperson, tell me about this drug because what we're seeing is such and such. And then they give them some spin, some marketing talk. And they're like, okay. And they believe the labs. They believe what's coming out of the labs. Even though it's, there's a conflict of interest. And then we're the lab rats. So they experiment on us to see what happens. But anyway, let me reel it all the way back in, right? We have 2 supplements, Neuroplex and Neurogen, right? Which are for neurological issues, central nervous system, autonomic nervous system, enteric nervous system, all the nervous systems that the body has. Over to you, Dr. Keela, really quick.
Just quickly, dementia, as you know, has a lot of causes, but one of the things that the food industry contributes to is the overload of sugar on the brain.
Yeah.
So you can have diabetes of the pancreas, diabetes of the ovaries, as in PCOS, but diabetes of the brain
right.
is the dementia, particularly Alzheimer's dementia. So a lot of our what we eat is like badu, dashin, a lot of starchy foods. So if you can find ways to make replacements instead of having the starchy foods, something far less starchy. So, instead of the cocoa bread, something else. Instead of the oats, maybe a quinoa porridge. Instead of rice and peas, you have quinoa and peas. Making those substitutions can help lower the blood sugar level overall in the body and therefore also in the brain, so that you have a slowing of the degenerative process. But Dr. Amsu, I wasn't sure. I know that we have found that people have used this and had some success, but it depends on how early. Golden milk, because it has a lot of neuroprotective ingredients in it, like with the turmeric, but also the cinnamon, and instead of using sugar, they use like coconut palm sugar because it had a lower glycemic index, so it didn't tax the brain cells as much. But you may have to do a bit more looking into that to see which version of the recipe will work better for you. But there are things plant-wise that can be used along with Dr. Amsu's Neuroplex and Neurogen.
And make sure you don't feed her processed foods, right? So cut out processed foods, as many processed foods as possible, because the MSG is a major issue, right? Monosodium glutamate. So yeah, it is an uphill struggle when you're dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia. Emotionally it's draining as well, very draining. So somebody has to be the food Nazi. Somebody has to take on that role that will not. All right, there you go. Because you kind of got a stern face, bro. Like,
no, I was already thinking
play.
about it. I know what she eats. I know what my dad has been feeding her out of love, but ignorance.
Right.
And we just had that talk today. And I'm the example for him when it comes to the lifestyle that you guys have educated me on since, 2018.
Right.
And so he sees me, he's like, oh, it works. So now he cooks more. He just made something delicious with like cabbage and peppers and onion. He's like, what you think about this, son? Is it good? He's always trying to impress me now. So I'm just like, okay, now's a good time to really try to do some work with our family. So,
and one of the things we were talking about. So do you know what now means yet? Did you look it up yet?
Oh no!
Right, look it up, man. But basically, we were on a call. Myself, Mr. Breaks, and Dr. Keeler. We were on a call with the UK yesterday, talking about fibroids and female reproductive issues, and we were talking about stock cubes, right? So, one of the most dangerous ingredients in our food that we use, and it's a shortcut, but we've gotten so used to it, we add stock cube. We have stock, right? So whether it's Oxo, Paxo, or what's some other ones? What's the ones in Africa?
No. Remember they have no.
No, K
Maggie cube.
Maggie cubes.
And the red one.
And
there was, you said Oxo, right?
Right, I
There's
said
another
Oxo.
red one. There was another red one.
There's a chicken.
Sasson Goya.
Goya, listen.
That's the big one.
Goya's the biggest one.
On the whole Latin world.
The Latin world. Have you seen the shape of them women? They hit 35 and it's a block of flab. Anyway, right? Goya. Anyway, if I rule the world, when I become emperor, Goya's gonna be shut down. All of these food flavoring companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not real food. They are chemicals. They have flavor enhancements which are made in laboratories, are synthesized. And most of them are neurotoxins and excitotoxins. So when you taste it, the sensation is so great, and they're highly addictive. Right? And this is what they use to flavor chips. What they use, what we call crisps in the UK, but chips and give me some other stuff that they use this in. These flavor enhancers.
Oh goodness gracious, Dr. Hampton! Every single food product out there.
So when we cook at home, we're like, all right, we're not buying their stuff, but then we buy these stock.
It's used a lot in anything that's quote unquote Asian or
Right.
ethnic, right? So any noodles, any ramen, any curry, any Asian food, and anything that has any kind of flavor is most guaranteed going to have some kind of MSG in it and some flavor enhancers and other emulsifiers. Well, listen, please don't go anywhere. Osborne, you said you said you had a couple more questions. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm trying to be quick because my laptop's about to die. I'm so upset. So dementia foods.
Switch to your phone,
break
bro.
down the starch
If your laptop
to my
dies, switch
phone?
to your phone.
All right. Don't leave. I'll be right back.
Oh, we'll be
All
here,
right.
mate. All right. So Osborne's run off there. It's No Ordinary Woman
There you go.
chat show. That's what it was. I
I
know
knew
I had
woman
it
was
there.
in there.
Women are always involved in those things, aren't they? Troublemakers. But listen, guys, great show, great question. Listen, I'm seeing a few names on here I haven't seen before. So if you're new to the show, please unmute your camera. Don't be shy. Ask your questions. There are no silly questions. We don't make fun of everybody. But honestly, we're here to help. And listen, the questions you ask help a lot of people. So again, don't be shy and ask your questions. I'm going to jump to some of the questions I had up here before. And then when Osborne gets back, we'll pick up with him. So I did have... Now, Nicole, I think you joined the call. Nicole, are you still here?
I see Nicole.
I saw Nicole on here.
Yes, she's there.
Nicole, are you there?
Yes, she's there.
I know I'm asking her to speak.
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone.
Can we
Nicole.
trouble you to unmute your camera, please?
Oh, I'm not in a place where I can,
Oh.
if that's okay.
Okay.
I apologize. Next time.
Don't worry, I'm putting you in my little naughty book. But go ahead, Nicole. Thanks. I know you were on the IGs. Thanks for coming over to the dark side, the good side. What can we do for you today, Nicole?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dr. Amsu, Mr. Breaks. Is it
that's
Mr. Breaks?
Yeah. Say it with more.
Okay, I had a question
You did
about
good, you did
charcoal
good, you
soap.
did good.
We're playing.
Well,
with
you
you,
get
bro.
Dr. Amsu right. That's all that matters.
I had a question about charcoal soap. Is that safe to use for skincare, like face and body?
All right, Dr. Keeler.
Charcoal.
Even though I know, but Dr. Keeler's going to go in now because this is Dr. Keeler is good hair, good body.
And Dr. Keita, whilst you're there, can you talk a little bit? You probably will do, but about the charcoal craze, because there's charcoal everywhere now, right? They've got it in drinks, there's skin lotions. Anyway,
You have to be very careful with
Dr. Keeler.
charcoal.
Oh, with charcoal. Okay.
Go ahead, Dr. Keeler.
So, pleasant afternoon. Charcoal is basically carbon. they make it from all kind of things, burning trees, burning coconut husk, you name it. Um, it's important to know the source and how it was processed because you don't want any impurities in it. Reason being, charcoal in the lab is used in chromatography, which is basically a filtration system. They use it in your water filters too to filter out heavy metal. So you want to make sure, if at all possible, that when you're sourcing any product that has charcoal, it's not just from any reckless source. That's number one. Number two, for skin, it can be okay, but again, what is it mixed with? So a lot of people don't know that not all soaps are equal. Not all soaps are plant-based. The best plant-based soap I've ever found was African black soap. And African black soap, the authentic one, has it's all plants. There's no synthetic to it. But when you find it in certain stores like Whole Foods and whatnot, it it's jet black. That means iron oxide has been added to it to give it that black, jet black color. Um, Charcoal soap can be okay, but you also have to know your skin type. If you have a very sensitive skin type and the charcoal is not well pulverized, you can damage your skin, just like you can damage your teeth if the charcoal is not well pulverized and it's not sourced from a safe source that is not contaminated with heavy metals, because carbon does bind charcoal as well as a lot of other impurities. In addition, you have to be mindful in how you store your soap. Soap is a surface. If it's a solid soap, it has a surface to it. I don't care how much preservative you put in most soaps. If you contaminate it, if you're very careless with its placement, you can end up growing junja on your soap. So for those of you all who are not Afro-Caribbean, junja is what we call germs. If you're from Yard, or if you're from Barbados, or if you're from anywhere Bajans and Yardis have traveled, okay? So you have to store your soap properly. So if you're if the charcoal is sourced from a very safe source, one of the best sources is coconut husks that have been burned. Then you're more likely safe, but make sure there are no weird name additives. Like if it says coconut, it should say coconut
Right.
charcoal. If it's charcoal from some other source, don't buy it.
Yeah. Dr. Keeler,
Okay.
very quickly, something has come up quite a bit, and this is following on from you, Nicole. So charcoal, and you made a comment here, heavy metals bind to charcoal, right? And so I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that when people get food poisoning or they imbibe something poisonous, they often use charcoal. Activated charcoal because it will bind to the charcoal. So what, if any, are the medicinal properties of charcoal, or all things considered from a natural source, and what are the benefits of charcoal?
What, internally or externally?
Well, so generally, when should or can charcoal be used, either medicinally or appropriately? Should I say that way?
Well, I know in hospital it's often used when there's been a suspicion of someone ingesting anything that, if it travels through the system, can do more damage. Usually that's like a gastric lavage. It's not a good experience to even see somebody go through that. And for those who have, you will probably vomit up the charcoal. They'll get enough of it out, but in cases of poisoning, they often use it. Now, there's certain cases in poisoning that they may not use it, and they'll try to use other means to neutralize the toxin. I know historically that Gullah people, because we know some people of Gullah descent, they often kept charcoal around just in case they ate something that was questionable. They would take like a couple spoons of charcoal and mix it into something decently tasting and imbibe it to adsorb, not absorb, but adsorb. Adsorb,
Adsorb.
yeah, which is absorb is when something gets into something else. Adsorb is when something binds to the surface of something else. So charcoal can be an absorber or an adsorber. So in cases of toxic ingestion, some cases of toxic ingestion, they use it. But you don't want to overuse it because it can also chelate heavy metals. So, it's not something that you should be using every day.
Right.
Because if it's chelating the heavy metals, it's also chelating the electrolytes, some of which are metals, like your softer metals. You don't want to chelate a bunch of iron out of your system. You don't want to chelate a bunch of alkali out of your system. Certain amount of alkali levels and low amount are necessary for cellular function. So you don't want to overdo it. And the danger with people not knowing that is you can cause major shifts in tides of your electrolytes if you overdo charcoal, and you end up with symptoms that you can't explain. And unless you report to your medical practitioner that this is what you've been taking regularly, they won't know to look for it either.
Right, and what I was going to say as well, just adding to the anti-nutrient factor, right? People who regularly use charcoal, like the craze, like right now you have black water, right, being sold out there, which is charcoal in water, and it's becoming a thing. And we issue warnings about this all the time, because when it absorbs, it's going to take the nutrients from what you ingest. It's going to take those. It's going to absorb it, and you're going to end up defecating it out, right? Those nutrients. And again, on top of that, always read the labels, right? I want to reiterate this. Always read the labels to know the source. Now, medical grade is the best, because, hospitals do not want to get sued, and their sourcing for their materials it has to be top notch. Unless you're at Grady.
Don't do it. One of the best hospitals in the world.
Right. But, very important that you don't get caught up in all these crazes, and that you have all the facts when it comes to your skin, because there are things that trend, and you believe, like, maybe I should try that, but then it's like going Body Shop, and Body Shop has all these different fragrances, and you believe you're getting that. And I always talk about the cocoa mango, right? You believe you're getting cocoa mango, but it's not coconut and it ain't mango, right? So when you actually read the ingredients down the side, you're like, wait a minute, what's all this stuff? I can't pronounce anything that's on this, but when I smell it, it smells like coconut and mango, right? So it's important, and it's the thing. When it comes to your skin, there's two sides to your skin. There's what's going on externally, there's what's going on internally in your body, right? And a lot of the time when we experience when we have bad skin experiences, or we have a chronic skin condition, it's from something probably starting in the gut, right? Yep. So your gut health plays a major role in what's going on your, on your skin.
Yeah. Nicole, did you had another question, I think?
No, that was it.
That was it. Great question.
My son, yeah, thank you.
So what's going on with your son? What's going on with your son?
No, the question about the soap, it was in regards to my son, because he just turned 14. So he just has that teenage skin.
Oh, he's got acne.
Yeah. So that was the only thing that was working on it. And I wanted to make sure it was safe for him. So
okay, so let's so I'm glad we delved. So let's actually remedy his situation, right? Because that's what we're here to do. Acne with teenagers is about what? What is it about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Oh,
it's about gal.
I tell you what the trauma's about.
It's about hormones. It's about hormonal imbalance, right? Hormonal imbalance is the fallout, the outcome of bad diet. So yes, definitely what's going on in his gut is playing a major role. There's parasites, bacteria, but hormonal imbalance plays a major role with acne, where even acne gets the name hormonal acne, right? But usually they put onto girls, but it's hormonal, right? There's stuff that he's exposed to, that he's ingesting, right? Whether it's what he's breathing in, right? What he's eating. So all these things have to be corrected. His water intake has to be increased, like pure water, right? Not so if he drinks a lot of sodas and all that, that's got to go, because all these things, when you express any kind of acne, your body's letting you know, right? You're poisoning me, and I'm letting you know I'm gonna make you ugly. Till when you fix up. So he needs to change his diet. So one of the worst things you can do for acne is try to deal with acne from the surface.
I wonder if he's a lot
You
of
got to
cheese.
deal with it internally.
I bet he's a pizza eater as well. Does his son eat a lot of pizza?
He loves pizza like most
Does he eat
kids
Takis?
his age. Turkey?
Taki, the chips. You know them
No,
Takis.
no.
Takis.
No, not at all. No,
Cheetos?
my kids don't even
Does
know
he
about
eat
those
chips?
snacks. I keep them out the house.
All right, you keep them out of the
That's
house.
where he eats them.
You keep them out of the house, but when he goes to school,
I don't think he's eating that. And he drinks a lot of water. They barely drink juice. They drink all water
okay.
all the time.
All right, so we have meal plans anyway. Does he eat meat?
Yes.
Does he eat meat on the pizza?
Yes.
Pepperoni.
So he eats pork.
Yes.
All right. So see, now when we go into it, we know that. All right, he's full of parasites. He's full of his aromatase must be through the roof, right? He eats dairy. There's a lot of bacteria in cheese, and that there's a lot of starch, a lot of sugars going on, right? So his whole gut flora is in disarray, and it's expressing itself through his skin now as acne. All right, so that all has to be corrected, and we can set you on a meal dietary plan, right? And the food that you make for him,
How would stability help, Doctor?
Stability will help because, but he has to remove the toxins though. Like we have supplements to help. We have Derma-In and we have stability. We have Immuno, because again, when you have acne, that's also an immune response as well. What's going on? So all these things have to be corrected. We have to remove the toxins. So acne is in response to what's going in.
Okay. My youngest son has taken Derma-In. I love that supplement, by the way.
Okay, excellent. But again, at the same time, we want to cut out the culprits.
Okay. I got it. Thank you, Dr. Keela. Thank you, Dr. Amsu. Thank you, Mr. Briggs.
Thank you,
I
Nicole.
appreciate it.
Make sure you keep coming back and jump on the Zoom next time.
Well, stay around. Stick around.
We're not
Nicole.
gone yet. Yeah. Osborne, Mr. Owner, you're back. You're on your phone.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
We can
We
hear
hear
you.
you.
All right. I brought my dad with me too.
Okay.
All right.
Could you give a quick explanation again about the foods to eliminate for the dementia?
All right, Dr. Keela.
How are you, Doctor?
How you doing?
Oh.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, yeah, this is my
Good,
dad.
sir.
This is Osborne Bingham Jr. I'm the third.
All right. Oh, you're the third.
Yes.
All right. So in Jamaica, we'd call you the turd.
Don't take that, Osborne. Clap back.
All right, Dr. Keela, explain the foods to eliminate.
Neurotoxic
Oh,
foods.
you want to eliminate anything that is going to increase toxins or increase inflammation. So let's start with the inflammatory foods first, because they'll probably be the ones that are easiest to get at, and they'll probably be the softest. So instead of focusing on a lot of the starchy foods, which are going to increase the blood sugar, like um, dumpling, the white rice, potatoes, things like that. You want to focus on lower glycemic natural foods like quinoa instead of the white rice, amaranth, things like that. It's possible to use let me see. I'm thinking of it in Spanish. In Jamaica they call it chocho, but not in Puerto Rico. They call it chayote.
The squash.
Yeah, the
Yes.
squash. That
Chayote squash.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can use the squash because it's a low glycemic index. Has a lot of water to it and a degree of fiber, so it will keep her full, but it's not going to spike her blood sugar as long as you don't add things that are going to increase the sugar content, like brown sugar and things like that. In addition, you want to really get rid of a lot of the um, animal products because they're acidic and it taxes the system on eliminating not only acid but parasites like acid as well. And so that's a lot of your, meats, whether it's swim, flies, or grazes. Okay, and I love curry goat too, but in this situation, you want to keep her mostly with the plants because you have a lot of naturally occurring anti-inflammatory, nutrient dense phytonutrients in your plants like callaloo, um, in uh, a lot of your fruits, but low glycemic, low acidity, high water fruits like watermelon and things like that, because what those are going to do are restore a lot of the phytochemicals, the natural occurring defense chemicals, okay, in plants that will help restore the neuronal membranes from being rusted out by things she has eaten in the past, by toxins, by oxidizing agents. Oxidizing agents are things that cause rust. We naturally produce them as we break down our food, but if we're eating foods that replace the those rusty parts, then the cells can last longer. In addition, you want to focus on bedtime. You already know is a key thing here, and making sure that sunlight exposure is routine, because it's going to set up the body to repair in a very routine way. She has to sleep incredibly well to preserve her brain health. And that is going to involve a lot of tryptophan rich foods like guinea banana, coconut, things like that. Now, in addition to all of that, you may consider things like golden milk. You can look up a recipe for golden milk, which will usually involve turmeric, cinnamon, nutmeg, some cayenne pepper or black pepper. Um, but you definitely need the capsaicin from the pepper and the plant oil, the coconut milk in there to be able to help her absorb the anti-inflammatory components from the turmeric, which will help slow down the neuronal damage in the brain. Because the thing is, you want to repair and slow the rate of damage all at the same time. Movement is going to be key because movement in the muscles stimulate the nerves, which feed back to the brain. So routine movement, routine dancing. If she liked to dance in her youth, dance with her. If she likes certain games that cause her to have to recall and restore those neuronal connections, that's key too. Because when you start reinforcing neuronal connections with food, with sleep, with movement, it makes preserving the brain health a a far less difficult effort. But it's easy to go for the starches, but the starches will accelerate the decline. It's easy to go for the plant products, the plant like the meats and the fish and the poultry, but that will accelerate the decline. Focusing on plants and utilizing your seasonings is going to be key, because even the seasoning, the natural seasoning, not the ready-made season packs, the bouillons and such like Oxo, Sazon Goya, or Maggi. No, those gotta go, because the flavor enhancers, the excitotoxins in there will burn out her mitochondria in
Glutamic
her
acid.
brain, and brain cells have a lot of
Right.
those. Particularly neurons have a lot of those. When you eat the plants, you're supporting the supportive structures around those neurons, like the glial cells. The glial cells help nurse the neurons to health. So by focusing on plants and the hydration, doing the movement, avoiding the spice enhancers, right? You will help slow the neuronal degeneration, which is dementia. Does that help, sir?
Yes, very much. I'm not going to remember all of those ingredients.
No,
but
we'll send Osborne. Just send us an email, and we will send you a food list.
Okay, I just go to
do
your
not eat
website
list.
page with the links.
A do not eat list and a food list.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna put it into the chat where you must send your email. Okay.
Thank you so much. I love that. It was very appreciative.
And also, gentlemen, please don't forget that you can watch the whole of these recordings back on YouTube. And if you, upon request, we can sometimes share the Zoom with you. But on YouTube, the whole recording's back, so you can play it back and rerun this and get the answers there as well. And also the live as well on IG. It stays up there for a little while. You can actually download the live on IG as well. But again, send us the email and we'll send you that information for sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. So, guys, hey, Osborne, I don't know if you've gone yet. I actually want to congratulate you for being that guy. You know, we talk a lot on the show about people and how illness affects us, but we don't talk enough about how it affects our families and how we have to, you know, one day you're going about your daily life and next day you're a carer, a full-time carer. You know, you become a nurse in your own right. And the unsung heroes all over the world are people who are caring for a family member who has a dementia or, you know, suffered a trauma, an accident. And it goes unmentioned, absolutely goes unmentioned. So I just want to congratulate you as a guy, young guy, I don't mind saying that, looking after his mum. You and your dad are doing the right thing there.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, brother. Okay.
The last two questions I have are, so I've noticed, and I wish I need to document it in a journal, but depending on what I eat, sometimes the texture of my skin changes on certain parts of my body. Mm-hmm. And what could I be having too much of that causes specifically my upper lip to have like an excessive dryness? I don't know if you noticed, but I've been licking my lips a lot during the Zoom call. And it's just my upper lip. It feels dry, but it's hot outside. I'm drinking plenty of water. I've been making watermelon juice and grapefruit juice like every day with the juicer, fresh. I did eat like a batch of pine and Brazil nuts that I think might have been a little old. But yeah, why would my upper lip specifically want to stay dry?
Anything to do with skin, Dr. Keeler, I'm leaving it to you. This is your speciality. I'm not gonna put myself in the way of any of these questions.
Okay, so skin, I want you to understand that skin is not just one thing or one layer, it's multiple layers and it's multiple building blocks, okay? Just a brief tutorial on skin. We have the hypodermis, the dermis, and the epidermis. Where we have the most vasculature, meaning blood vessels, where we pretty much get all of our fluids, they're coming through the dermis, right? And that feeds the epidermis, which is the layer of bricks that is constantly growing up, right? Well, you mentioned a few things, and then there was one thing you did not mention. You mentioned that you're taking a diuretic, not a pill, but the grapefruit juice. So that's going to cause a lot of diuresis, a lot of urination, which is going to cause you to lose a lot of fluid. So you're going to have to replace a lot more fluid. Number two, even though you're drinking the watermelon juice, which is great because you're getting a large dose of citrulline, which is going to increase blood flow, open up those blood vessels and increase blood flow to your skin, which actually restores that youthful, dewy look to skin. Okay, it's a natural facelift. What I didn't hear is plant oils. Now, you ate the pine nuts and the Brazil nuts, but did they have salt, sir?
I did season the batch. I put some salt, some pepper, some cayenne pepper.
What kind of salt did you use?
I used black lava sea salt.
Okay. You could also use
but I do like
black lava is pretty good, but just don't over salt.
Yeah, that's don't over salt it. Black lava salt is very, very, very potent.
Yeah. You don't want to over salt, even though sea salts in general are a mixture of potassium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, and have less sodium chloride, which is a very strong desiccator, a strong drying agent. It's still in there, so it will cause you to dehydrate. But if you're not eating enough plant fat, you will dehydrate. So yes, so ackee, avocado, sapote, what's another one? Coconut. And not the coconut. You can use coconut oil sparingly, but you don't want to put that on high heat because then it becomes carcinogenic. It's better to use the dry, unsweetened coconut flakes. If you can't get coconut milk without preservative, make coconut milk from that. And drink that with regularity every day. Okay. If you're going to use coconut oil, you don't heat it. You use it in the liquid form and you put it with a salad dressing. You make your own salad dressing with fruits and spices, right?
Don't heat any oils. That's a rule. Don't heat any oils.
Because they become carcinogenic. Essentially, they become like a liquid plastic. Okay. Yeah, not so hot, right? Instead, some people will saute on low heat with liquid sea moss instead of butter or oil, and it does work. It does work. You can season it up and then lightly saute your vegetables with that, and then drizzle your coconut oil and some lemon juice on top of your veg. You know, a room temperature key lime juice with coconut oil. Not a lot, maybe like a teaspoon or so, and mix up those vegetables. It's very flavorful, especially if you know how to, if you're adventurous with your spices. You can create a whole new cuisine like that, but you have to eat those plant oils. And nuts and seeds are great, like pumpkin seed. And as you get older as a man, pumpkin seed is going to be your friend. But also chia seeds and things like that, hemp seed, things like that, because they have a good amount of healthy fats in them, healthy fatty acids, which are going to keep your skin nice and supple and help you maintain the hydration that you eat with your fruits and vegetables. I hope that helps.
It does, man, because during the summertime, the cycle I like to do is like a fruitarian summer, but you open my eyes about my fat being so low. That's almost been like on purpose. I'm like, I don't need a bunch of fat. I just want my mangoes and my blueberries and my juice.
It's not the fat per se, it's the type of fat. Check this out. With skin is a bilayer of fat, which is basically a gated community, and then it has proteins injected into it, right? Protein gates, portals. Those gate your ions, your electrolytes, your sodium, your calcium, your magnesium, all of those things. And then you have some cholesterol to give it a little firmness, but not too much. But you have to have all of that plus water above and water within the cell. So your skin is not one thing, it's many things. Skin is like a double layer forest. Like if you ever seen a picture or a painting of a forest and a forest at the water line, you see the reflection. That's exactly how your skin looks. You have water above. So in our air, we have water, and you have water within or below, which is the lake, the stream, or the ocean. Our skin is built just like that painting. And they're proteins. There's real structures that part of them are bind nicely to fat, and other parts bind nicely to water and water soluble things to allow them through. And then you have other proteins that when they bind certain things, they change conformation, flip, and put those things from the outside to the inside of the cell, or vice versa. We lose water through certain gates, protein gates called aquaporins. We lose electrolytes through other protein gates, and those, the flux of those ions, the flux of those minerals are what signal cells to do certain things on the inside. So when you're losing water, you're losing signal too. So you have to have the fats to restore the lipid bilayer and a certain amount of plant protein as well to restore the protein gates so that you don't lose signal. Your signals don't get attenuated. That way your cells function properly, your skin functions properly, you don't dehydrate.
And what I wanted to say as well, related to this, a lot of people who experience dry lips, right? What do? They go and get petrochemicals and smear it on, right?
Yeah.
They buy lip balm and what's the other one? What the man them in this
The balm,
office?
chapstick.
I got people here, chapstick. I got people right here in the office, and I'm trying to tell them you're making it worse. You're getting temporary relief, but you're causing chronic damage, right? So remember, everything you put on your skin is getting into your bloodstream. Everything. Right? So it's important that when you deal internally with your skin, and you can enhance your skin by topical, but internally is where it all starts. All right.
And you need those B vitamins too, because certain deficiencies in B vitamins will cause cracking at the angles of your mouth.
That's what's happening now.
Stomatitis. That's a B vitamin deficiency. So you may want to incorporate a bit more of your healthier grains, your ancient grains like fonio, right? Like amaranth, quinoa, in what you eat on a regular basis to replenish those B vitamins.
Indeed. Listen, guys, Dr. Keita, Dr. Sampson, these are great questions, by the way, Osborne, great answers. We've only got a few minutes left.
Let me ask Osborne something. Osborne, what supplements do you have right now?
Supplements, I would say I have black maca powder, black maca root powder. I have.
All right, let me rephrase this. What Great Black Detox supplements do you have right now?
What good stuff do you have?
Right, what good stuff?
Great Black Detox, 0. What I have.
Right. So yeah. we have Derma in, we have Derma out. We have things like Olympian that will provide you with B vitamins, right? So the reason why I asked is because you've been following us since 2018, right? And it's confusing to me when somebody says, I've been following you for so long, but it's like, I got dry lips and I got cracks in the side. I'm like, you can't be on any of our supplements.
Yeah, no, not the Great Black Detox.
Right, and this is the thing, right? What we speak about all the time, a lot of people try to go for, all right, I'm eating these specific foods, but a lot of nutrients in the food are not there that should be in the food. There's a depletion in minerals, right? In the soil. So foods are not as good as they used to be. And then there's the source of your food, where you're getting your food from, right? So you might, let me just say oranges, for instance, right? And even though I don't really tell people to do oranges apart from, blood oranges or whatever, right? Oranges today are bigger, but they have like a third of the nutrients of what was in the 50s and the 60s, right? Because of where they're grown, how they're grown, right? So the reason why we have a supplement company is because we will not survive without supplementation in this day and age. We live in food deserts. And even if there's vegetation, we're still in a desert because of the lack of nutrients. There's a lot of genetically modified instances, and there's conventionally grown foods that we, produce that we have, where the actual pesticides or the herbicides or the fertilizers actually take away from the, from the produce. They actually interfere with the integrity, the cellular integrity of these foods, right? So there are places where we source our ingredients where it's tropical, where we know it's wild crafted, it grows in the wild, right? And the reason why we drum home to everybody, supplementation. You have to supplement because it's no longer in the foods. And then we start dealing with, all right, there are certain foods that are great, fruits that are great, but they're seasonal. So for 6 to 8 months of the year, you can't get them. And Dr. Keeler made a great point earlier about the spices, your herbs and spices that you season your food with, the natural ones. You know how much greatness, how many nutrients are in those herbs and natural spices, right? These are the things that we make our supplements from, right? There's a lot of great properties found in barks, in certain leaves, in seeds, right? And when we eat fruits, generally we want to spit the seeds out. And there are fruits that we will say, don't eat that, but eat the seeds though. So pumpkin, pumpkins are highly estrogenic, but pumpkin seeds is where you're gonna get your testosterone and your iron from, right?
Right.
So you're not gonna, unless you're living locally and you can pick something. People live in tropics, they have it the best. They don't believe they do, but they have it the best when it comes to food. We don't have it. Us who live in North America and in Europe and whatnot, we don't have it like that. So we have to supplement, especially when we're living outside of our natural environments. All right?
All right.
Thank you, Osborne.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And you put the link to email you in the
I have
chat.
done, yeah. support@greatblackdetox.com.
Okay.
We're getting a signal from our producer who we're going to fire directly after the show. Why are you pointing at me? You piling people up. So listen, we're going to disappoint some people today because their questions came in too late. I just hope you guys appreciate it. We finish at 7. Ruth B, you're up first. I'm going to jump to you guys in the Zoom. Apologies to those who sent questions in by chat. We'll keep them on here. I do have them on my list. If we get a second, we'll try and jump on them. But with all love and kindness, we do prioritize people that are in the actual Zoom. So Ruth B, I think you had your hand up for a while. Talk to us. You're muted, Ruth.
I sent something to Dr. Amsu a couple of days ago.
Through the mail?
To raise, well, of a sort. For him to raise. It's to do with menopause and estrogen and the mixed messages that are out there about when you're going through menopause, and apparently you're losing estrogen. I must admit I'm a little confused, and when I'm confused, I eat unhealthily. Let's call it that. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So please.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna do a special on menopause, right? Because menopause is complex, and there are many phenotypes when it comes to the suffering that comes along with menopause symptoms. There are different phenotypes, but here generally this is what goes on, right? So menopause is basically, all right, women have a finite amount of eggs. It's like circa 400 eggs that women have. So for 40 moons in your life, you will release an egg. When you start running out of eggs, that's when menopause starts to come in. When menopause starts to kick in, and there's a transition, menopause transition, it's also known as perimenopause. Right, so there's a stage in your life where you're running out of eggs and your body starts to respond in a certain way. So it's like the epilogue of the function of your ovaries, right? So the ovaries produces the sex hormones, the sex steroidal hormones, namely testosterone, progesterone, and the types of estrogen, right? Estrogen, right? Estradiol, estriol, and estrone, right? Now, when your ovaries stop working or wind down, it produces less and less of each of those. And what happens is your adrenals kick in, or your adrenals always also produce them, but it's like your adrenals are like backup for your ovaries as a woman, right? Now, it's about, when we talk about estrogen dominance, we're talking about the ratio of estrogen to its counterpart. The counterpart of estrogen is progesterone. So there's a balancing mechanism between estrogen and progesterone. They keep each other in check, right? Or that's what they're supposed to do. So there's functions of estrogen which are very important, which are critical in certain pathways of optimum health. There's estrogen is involved in osteogenesis. It's involved with mammary glands. It's involved with brain function and certain mood and whatever. But so too with progesterone. Now here's what happens: your ovaries stop producing estrogen and progesterone, and your adrenals start to produce them. Now, progesterone is a precursor to cortisol, right? So, if you live a stressful life, you're in a high-paced job, or you have kids around you, or you have a nagging partner, right? Or you got people around you who stress you out. Your body, the most important function of the adrenals is to deal with stress, right? So it prioritizes cortisol. Cortisol is made from progesterone. So in order to deal with stress, you have the stress hormone, cortisol. Cortisol inhibits or uses progesterone for its own use, right? So the ratio, even though they both are supposed to be produced by the adrenals, estrogen gets produced a lot more. So you have estrogen, progesterone. So that is estrogen dominance, right? Testosterone also plays a role in balancing estrogen as well, right? And there's functions of which also get produced in the adrenals. But there's xenoestrogens. There's the environmental estrogens that also contribute to estrogen dominance. Estrogen produces fat. Fat produces estrogen. Estrogen produces fat. Fat produces estrogen. And it goes on and on and on and on. Right? Herbicides, pesticides, fertilizers, meat, dairy, estrogen, xenoestrogens, right? Phthalates, makeup, household chemicals, right? In fertilizers and pesticides, you have glyphosate. Glyphosate is highly estrogenic on top of the other estrogenic substances, right? Then there's black women and black people, right? We produce more aromatase, which converts androgens into estrogens. Androgens go up due to insulin resistance, but then they're converted into estrogen via aromatase, this enzyme that we have an abundance in. So estrogen dominance is rampant. So when women go into menopause, they used to give them estrogen replacement therapy, but they found that it caused breast cancer. So they replaced estrogen replacement therapy with hormone replacement therapy. And they started using Provera and other, creams and stuff, right? And they still give out estrogen creams. But it's who were these creams made for, right? So there are symptoms that come along with perimenopause and the transition. There's hot flushes that come along. There's night sweats. There's depression and anxiety. Right? Now, let's go back to depression and anxiety quickly. Depression and anxiety is caused by the decline in progesterone. Progesterone is key to your GABA, which is a neurotransmitter that calms you down from stress or calms you down from excitement, from any kind of anxiety and depression, right? So we have the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which when we are stressed out, it becomes hyperactive. And GABA is what calms us down. It's key. But without progesterone, we're not going to produce GABA. And without GABA, we're a bundle of nerves. So when you hear of women on the edge of a nervous breakdown, it's down to a lack in the production of GABA, right? So hormone replacement therapy that they use, if they're giving out estrogen, and they give out estrogen because of things like vaginal dryness and vaginal atrophy, right? So women who are going through that transition, they have painful sex, and there are things like hot flushes which estrogen can aid in, but it's been found that a lack of progesterone is more responsible for the hot flushes than it is estrogen. But you're getting estrogen through fat and through phytoestrogens, through xenoestrogens. Your body is still getting, so even though there may be a decline in estrogen, there's a far more greater decline in progesterone.
Right. So why then does everything that I read say that because I have some symptoms like my joints. I have such pains in my joints, and why did they say that it's because of a lack of estrogen then?
I mean, there's a lot of misinformation when it comes, especially to black people, right? When dealing with situations such as this, right? Again, estrogen plays an important role with osteogenesis, but when it comes to your joints and ligaments, right? Progesterone and testosterone have a greater a greater role, right, in that. And cortisol is causes joint pains, right? Cortisol. So your body, your adrenals are gonna produce more cortisol than it's gonna produce progesterone, which you need. So if you're in any kind of environment where you are of any kind of stress, right? Your liver function is also key, right? There are so many different pathways that are affected by this whole transition that you're going through. And it's important.
So how do you increase progesterone then?
All right.
How do you get more?
There are specific, like cruciferous vegetables, right, are very important for you.
In English?
Cabbage.
Thank you.
Brussels sprouts. All right.
Right.
Give you the Queen's English. Brussels sprouts. Cauliflower. Broccoli.
Okay.
There's things like ginseng that you need, right? But here's the thing. We have supplements that are for this in particular. And it's funny that you brought this up this week, because we've had so much questions, and I create because this guy is just here trying to look pretty, right? As demand comes for things,
Yeah.
we had Venus and we got stability and essence and that, but I've actually formulated something for menopause, because there's been so many questions about it. And again, we tell people to get specific foods, and when we do that, people are going to think that, all right, if I just eat the food, I should see great improvement. And you may do by just changing your diet and eliminating. And here's the thing. There are habits that women who go through menopause, and it's because of past habits. So women who go into menopause already with hormonal imbalance, they're facing hell. They're facing hell, right? Because any of the symptoms of menopause can rear its head, right? Osteoporosis or osteopenia can take place, right? Where your bones get thin. Now, there are habits like women who smoke, women who drink alcohol, right? So alcohol is like your worst enemy. Your worst enemy during menopause. It's the worst thing you can do to yourself is alcohol. Drinking tea, like black tea. Drinking coffee, right? These nitrogenic substances, nitrogen, caffeine, right? Alcohol is the, I'm going to say it again.
Caffeine-free tea. Suppose if
it's caffeine-free tea, but then you're using coronation milk in it.
Caffeine-free and decaffeinated are two different things as well.
Decaffeinated, right.
Caffeine-free and decaffeinated, not the same thing. If it's caffeine-free naturally...
Right, naturally,
yeah.
then you're cool.
If it's decaffeinated,
so what about if it's decaf?
It's a process, it's poison.
Right, decaf is a process. That's a laboratory process. You're doing processed food. And you see, like, you're rubbing your head because you know you're guilty. Guilty!
Well...
Oh, she's
got her PG tips. She's got her Thai food. Is it Thai food?
You got, and this is the thing. When you go to see a doctor, or you're reading these things, you're on the internet, and it's like, yeah, there's a lack of estrogen. They're not telling you about nutrition. They omit that. That's off the table. They don't go into detail, right? So I'm being rushed here, even though this is important. This is why I have to do a whole thing on it, right? But even if, you out and you're like, all right, I'll just have one. And I know you already. This is my sister, everybody. I know already. Oh, I'll just have a little.
You say she's a lush. What are you trying to say, Dr. MC?
I drive.
You're like, I'll just have one.
No, not me.
No, but alcohol is the worst enemy. It's terrible. And the effects of alcohol, and alcohol doesn't get out of your system as it used to, right?
No.
There's a whole cascade that takes place. So, the joint pains.
Alcohol include red wine?
Even red wine, alcohol.
Oh, okay.
Even though in red wine you have resveratrol and whatnot, no, don't do grape juice. Red grape juice. Don't do any kind of alcohol at all. Stop the decaf stuff. Right? You have to be careful of what you're putting into your food.
Okay.
All right? And there's a specific diet, and supplementation is forever.
And what about exercise? Because one of the things as well is and dare I say it, is also not being able to control your bladder as well
all right.
as you used to.
So there are qigong exercises that we have, and also Kegel exercises, right? Kegel exercises are great for your bladder, but there are qigong exercises, the U-bladder, turtle breathing, that you should do religiously. But again, the menopause supplement that we will be, and we have a menopause supplement that will be out very soon. It will deal with your bladder, joint pains, fatigue, chronic fatigue, hot flushes,
right.
and the weight that comes with it, right? The thyroid
will there
issues.
be what do you call it? Like what you have for fibroids or whatever. Is it gonna be some kind of plan or something that will accompany it so that we know what to do, what things to avoid, what exercises to do.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be okay.
All right. So that's in the works. The formula's already done. We're just waiting on labels and whatnot.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ruth.
Yeah. All right. Thank you,
everyone. Now, listen, I'm going to apologize. I'm trying to be nice to everyone that had their hand raised. We run out of time. Hold on. I see you. Look, I'm getting that look from Floyd and Jan, right? I see you guys lying in the bed there.
We got a question.
You muted. And whoever iPhone is.
They had their hand up before.
Ironing. Actually, Floyd them had their hand up first. How quick is your question, Floyd? Well, your question might be quick. It's the answer I'm worried about.
No. Hey, we good. We actually asked the question in the chat, and you actually answered.
Okay.
After Dr. Amsu mentioned about the oil.
Yes.
About heating oil.
And we'll probably do a special on oil. I know Dr. Keely's got a ton of information. Even I know a little bit about oil and smoke points and things like that. So that's a great question. If you guys remember, please bring it up again next week earlier on, and then we'll do a little piece on that because it's something that now there's so many oils in the grocery stores now that claim to be virgin and organic and
no matter what kind of oil it is, you get past a certain temperature, boom, carcinogen.
Yeah, simple.
Don't matter.
Can you answer the question about the quinoa and diabetes?
Quinoa and diabetes? You asked that question?
And kidney, sorry.
What's the question, Marva?
Is quinoa good for people with CKD?
Oh,
it's an ancient grain. All those ancient grains are good for you, right? But we can go for CKD. There is a specific type of diet that you should have. So I'll put something together for you, Marva.
It's for Jackie. It's Jackie.
Oh, it's for Jackie. Well, all right. I can't tell because first of all, you guys ain't got your camera on, and I saw you both nudging each other out of the. You were nudging each other out of the picture. Right, there we go. And so Jackie, I will put together a starter meal plan for you. All right, so you'll have some kind of variety.
Okay.
All right.
Jackie, drop us an email, support@greatblackdetox.com, just to remind us, because once we leave here, we're drinking, you know this. So drop us an email so we don't forget.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
iPhone. I know your name's not iPhone. I think you're ironing or you're knitting. What's iPhone doing, guys?
Is that Carlene?
Is that Carlene? No. Is that, you know Carlene?
This place is hot.
Hey,
someone's got their hand up.
Oh, she's a hairdresser.
Hey.
All right, you have to mute your other. Somebody else.
Oh, she might be. Is she with Marva?
Okay. I don't know. My husband. Okay, let me get off one. Oh, it's still.
Right, there's two of you.
Oh, you logged in twice. I think
one of them is muted. Oh, I see what's going on.
Oh, I see what's going on. She's hairdressing. Okay,
you have to kill- you have to kill
we've done it. It's her. Oh, okay.
All right, that's
Okay,
better.
I can't hear you now.
No, we
All
can
right,
hear you too.
here we go. Here we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's your name
I can't
and where you
hear
calling
now.
from?
No, she had a speaker on the other device. Now she can't hear us.
I'm just looking forward to the menopause session because I'm experiencing that now, and I feel like I'm going through hell.
It is absolute hell, especially for black women.
Oh, I was going to say for men.
I mean, it's even worse for men. I'll tell you that.
Don't give me that look, Dr. Keeler. You know what I'm saying.
It's worse for us. So we got to sort this out. And in fact, most of the people who have contacted me are actually men. Like, help me.
Well, you need to help us so we can help them.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we have to root it out at its source.
So what's your name, darling? What's your name?
Carlene.
Okay, you're the boss lady. No, but Carlene, all joking aside, we've been talking about it for the last few days, in fact. It's a very, very big problem. And menopause is at the end of the setup. You've been set up when you were 14, when you were 9, when you were 7, all the way through your life for that moment. It's something that black women especially find out, obviously, all too late, right? So it's actually a very big issue, which is why we want to tackle it. So we will be putting something together. Please watch this space. Drop us an email to remind us. If you're on this show, if you're on this call, that means you probably have your email, maybe not. Maybe drop your email in the chat.
You guys have my information because I used to come on the link before, but I've just been so overly busy that I.
Okay. Well, we'll send you an invite and let you know when it's happening. But typically, this show is off the cuff. You never know what's going to happen on these calls.
Well, I did get an invite. That's why I'm here tonight.
Okay, good. Excellent.
So here's the thing.
I'm in your mailing list.
Okay, good.
Right.
I have the app and all that too.
Awesome. We're going to give you a badge for having all of that.
Okay, so I'm going to send you an email because I need to get some supplements.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So
right.
we'll have that, and what the point I was trying to get out there is this, that black women in traditional black culture, black women are groomed throughout their lives. So by the time they get to menopause, they're prepared. Biologically prepared.
Okay.
In Western culture, there's no preparation. In fact, as Mikey said, you are actually set up for a great fall, and black women actually enter menopause earlier than everybody else.
Okay.
Okay.
Not in our ancient cultures, in the West, living among Europeans and following European culture, it affects you where you experience it at an earlier age, or the symptoms start to rear their heads at earlier age.
What age are we supposed to be actually experiencing it?
Well, you're not, and here's the thing: menopause means that menopause is basically 12 months after you have your last period, you're in menopause. The intervening time, the transition, is supposed to be smooth transition. But all the symptoms that comes along are a form of illness.
Okay.
Right? They're conditions.
I'm getting a hot flash.
So there's what we can do to alleviate and make that transition as smooth as possible. But unfortunately, the environment that you all live in and that we live in means you need to constantly supplement.
Okay.
So,
I get that, and I am aware, and I try. However, I've not been successful. I did a procedure for my fibroids, and the doctor did tell me that one of the side effects was it would throw me into early menopause.
Right, and that's another thing that I was going to say. So, 75% of hysterectomies are unnecessary.
I didn't do a hysterectomy.
All right, okay. So
I just did it's like basically blocking the...
Right, embolism. You did an embolism.
Yeah.
So basically the uterine artery has been blocked.
UAE.
Yeah.
Right? And because of this, blood cannot get to the uterus anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Blood cannot flow out properly. Right?
Okay.
So so the reason why it brings on early menopause is that what your ovaries are producing we're not getting out, because your blood vessels are the railway system of your body, your cargo system. So everything that travels around your body, right, apart from electricity, right, travels through your blood vessels. So arteries that are blocked or blood vessels that are blocked means that there's no traffic.
Okay.
So with embolization and with hysterectomy, and black women in the United States have more hysterectomies than every other country put together.
Well,
so,
my doctor. Well, I had a doctor. She's from my gyna. She was from Nigeria, and when we spoke about it, she suggested that we. She was trying to have me try some pills that they were doing a test with, and I said I didn't want to use any drug, and because I wanted to go take the least route to go to get some relief of the fibroids because of the bleeding and the pain and all that. I didn't want anything too invasive.
Right.
And then she suggested this one because I wouldn't be taking anything out and whatever. And I know anything that I do that is unnatural, I'm sure it's going to have some adverse effects. Which
so did you
I don't know the side effects she told me.
You didn't do our fibroid program then?
No, I didn't. I was going to, but then when I started to go through my I started my menopausal thing. I said it's kind of pointless because now it's not getting the blood, so the fibroids will be shrinking now.
See, that's the thing.
And yeah, I'm gonna let you come in.
No, well,
but gynecologists, I have a passionate disdain for gynecologists and how they're treating and Nigerian gynecologists.
Shut up. You know he's going to end up marrying a Nigerian gynecologist. You know how fate works.
But anyway,
right?
No. Here's the thing. Seriously, right? Gynecologists have been lying to black women for so long, and it's part of their job. It's part of their standard operating procedure to give false information and keep you in a paradigm that sets you up for a life, for the rest of your life of suffering. And then they try to experiment on you with, there's a drug, it's experimental and...
Yeah, I didn't want to do the drug because the drug was like, one pill I think was like $500 for one of the pill. But with the program, I would get the drug for free. And I said, no, I don't want to be the test subject for a drug.
Right.
And I decided I would go through the natural, just wait until I go through menopause and this is going to go down. But I was just not, like I was getting my period every 21 days and I would have such excruciating pain. And I had my period, I was 11 years old and I was just really done with her period. I just wanted to be done with it.
And that's another way how they get you, is I'm sure you're fed up of these periods and that. And again, through hormonal imbalance is what makes periods so terrible, right? Make them an ordeal. So when you correct your diet and various other aspects of your life, in your lifestyle, the periods actually get better. And then the transition into menopause is also smooth. But right now, you band-aided a situation, and then that band-aid is not coming to your aid right now. It's actually made situations worse. Right? So again, we got to go, but we will be send us an email anyway. And we'll make sure that you know when we're gonna do the special on the menopause.
And tell the young lady whose hair you're doing that thanks for joining as well. If she has any questions, she can come on next week.
Which lady?
You're doing her hair right now. You're doing someone's hair. Was that a guy?
Oh yeah, she's listening. She's using my other AirPod.
Well, you're officially the first hairdresser to call into the show whilst at work, so we appreciate that.
Well, I did accept the invite, and I didn't want to not show up. So
yes,
I know I have to work, so I just try to do it while I'm working.
Indeed. Well, Kesha, thank you for coming in. Drop us that email, and we look forward to having you on our special. Thank you.
Okay, because I want to do the supplements, whatever. So it's not just about the menopause clinic. I also want to do supplements
for lifestyle. Absolutely. All right. And now's a great time. Good segue is that we've extended Dr. Amsu's birthday sale through August the 10th. It's 25% off. So it's a great time. Again, even if you're not ready to start today, order it today. You'll get it 25% off, quarter the price off through August the 10th. So whether you're buying a herbal supplement kit or you're buying individual supplements, now's the best time to get it. And we've got to extend the 4-ounce one as well. Because one thing we will say to people is that some people, there are certain things that are going to take some time, right? Maybe beyond the 30 days or beyond the 60 days. So if you get the 4-ounce or the 60-day or the 90-day supply, it's even cheaper, but we'll put that out there. So the 4 ounces as well for some of the supplements, but through August the 10th, 25% off. Now, Fabian, we won't have time for your question, but if your question is the one you asked earlier on, I'll segue out. If you've bought our products and you've had them for 90 days, what happens is 120 days, they won't go off, but the efficacy will start to reduce, right? And so for maximum potency, you need to use them within 120 days. So all of you that bought a kit, you bought a detox, I'm going to start that next week. Me and the guys, and then you left it in the shelf and it's been 3, 4, 5 months, the efficacy's gone. You'll probably have to refreshen that. You can use them if you want. It won't kill you as long, just make sure we don't know where you've kept them. If you've kept them in a cool, dry place, whatever. Our supplements don't go off, but obviously anything you buy, again, we can't know where you've kept it. Check it before you take it. But generally, if you've had it for that long, you should get a fresh set of supplements. So for maximum potency. So July 25 is still the code. Say again, Fabian?
It's because I saw the keep refrigerated on it.
Right.
And then I took it today and I felt ill. So that's why I was asking the question.
Now, how long have you had it?
Probably about 4 months.
And did you open it?
No, it wasn't open.
All right, then you're good.
You might be all right. Yeah,
then you're good.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering why I felt ill, because I sent Amsu a message this week asking him if it's fine to take it with the blood pressure medicine, the Oncogen for brain tumor.
Okay. Yes. So so you wait, you have blood pressure medication?
Yeah, I take Lazard for blood pressure.
All right. So blood pressure medication is something that we do not like. We absolutely do not like it, because blood pressure medication affects your liver, and it affects your kidneys, and these are two vital of the vital organs, right, outside your heart and your brain, right. Those two there, they got to be working right in order for nutrient distribution and synthesis of vitamins and how your body metabolizes, right? And blood pressure medication absolutely disrupts that, dysregulates it, right? So we don't like blood pressure medication. We have deep vein that we have to help with atherosclerosis and to clean up blood vessels and to make the blood vessels more flexible.
Yeah, and I'll have to talk to you about that next time, because I do have all those supplements, but there's so much stuff that's happening to me right now, and because of they said it was a meningioma, but it seems like it's affecting me more right now.
I think so.
Where it's going to the back of my head. Man, I don't even know if you remember me, but there's too much stuff going on in my body.
Have we had a consultation?
Fabian.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think we spoke to Fabian a few months ago, right? I think maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So all right. Send me an email, Fabian. And we can
definitely will.
All right. So I'll give you a call. Are you in the UK?
No, I'm in America.
All right. So I'll send me an email and I'll hit you up and we can discuss that.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right, Fabian. Appreciate it.
All
right, everyone. Hey, thank you. Our production team has walked out. I don't know if they're on strike. They're just mad at us. They're giving us all these side eye. Don't be giving me side eye, bro. But listen, as always, man, thank you very much for joining. We hope we haven't annoyed you too much and you've tolerated us gabbing on for 2.5 hours now.
My phone actually died.
Your phone died. The battery died. You got to get a proper phone, bro. I can't encourage. We need to do a whip round, a Patreon to get Dr. Amsu a proper phone. The guy's on some Stone Age Mercury 1-to-1. I don't know what it is. It's got an antenna you have to pull out at the back. That's how old this phone is. But listen, thank you all for joining. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for sharing. Again, make sure you go to the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, share. Get your friends on here. We all know people that have situations or conditions. They may be shy to talk to you. Sometimes it's difficult to talk to them. Let them come on here anonymously. Some people don't turn on their cameras, but let's keep these conversations going on. There is a platform that's free where you can ask questions about your health. I'm going to get Italian on you. Ascolta. What more do you people need? There is a platform that is free where you can ask anything about your health. Folks, let's get it together, man. But listen, be safe, happy healing, behave yourselves. Tomorrow, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, up the Gunners. Dr. Keeler, thank you so much. You're an angel. Thank you, Kesha.
Thank you, Keeler.
Thanks everyone else. All right, sending love to all the guys, man. Take care.
Hey,
See you next
Pamela.
week.
Nice seeing you.
Oh, Pamela's on. Hey, Pam.
Hey, Judy.
Do not mute.